When did you start to travel or kind of like go to a card store to play Yu-Gi-Oh when you knew how to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Not the beginning days when we were just some blue eyes, like not when we were.
For me, it was pretty early because I alternate universe, which anybody in like Philadelphia or the surrounding areas that plays Yu-Gi-Oh knows about AU.
Yep.
I started to go into AU pretty early. Like I had a friend from school that knew about it. So I had a friend from school that knew about this other card store called JMC.
Yes.
And JMC was like a closet. It was like the size of a closet. It was so small. And then I remember he took me to JMC one time. I eventually went there a couple more times, but I went there once. And then he was like, oh, I just found out about this other card store. And I remember we walked there one day after school. So we got done school at like 3:15 or whatever. And it was like, no lie, an hour and a half, 2-hour walk from my school. I'm in 7th grade, I think. And so he was like, yeah, I know where it's at. And we walked there. I'm like, yo, this was a long fucking walk.
Right.
We ended up walking all the way there. And I was playing in AU. And then at the time, I still didn't have a full grasp. But then because I was going to AU, people started helping me. Like, Fraser, you know him, and I'm sure people know him. Steve Silverman.
He won the last YCS. So, yes, we are.
Wait, he just won a recent YCS?
So, funny thing is, before the Panorama happened, there was a 3v3 YCS. And Silverman, who barely plays Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, pretty much was like a rock on these other two guys' team. One of the kids is actually really good. I think his name is Dominic Couch. And so they made a team called like, "Are you going to finish that?" Because they're all big. And my boy Scott Page is on the team. So everybody on the team is huge. Like, and this is no shade. They know they're huge. Their team name was called "Are You Going to Finish That?" And they fucking finished that. They won that YCS. So congrats to them. If I haven't said it already a million times, but
that's amazing.
But Silverman actually won the last YCS with that team. He's good at card games in general. So like
I'm really happy for him for that because I've known Silverman since I was in 7th grade. I know he's older than me. I don't know by how much. But I've known Silverman since I was in 7th grade. And when I went to AU, he was always just known as like the best player there.
Yes.
And he was there
the
all
best
the time.
Player in Philadelphia. When I first learned about like the idea of like a good player or a pro player or whatever, Silverman was the first person I ever saw that was like that for me. Like I was really young. Yep. I remember going to my first regional and he was in top 8 playing like Snipe Hunter and like he was rolling dice and saying, do it again? Fuck it, I'll do it again. And like he would roll the dice and it would be like every time he would never miss. He would always hit 2 through 5, never 1 or 6. He would look at his hand, look at the guy's field and be like, do it again. And like I never realized that was like, he's a degenerate person. Like he likes to gamble. So that was probably the most fun thing from like, it started early with this guy. Like
that's
he always,
amazing.
And he would literally pop this guy's entire field in like top 8 of this regional. Or I think it might even been the finals. Cause I remember people were playing Baboon Burn and shit like that back then. And Silverman would just like pop all his monsters, like discarding cards, and just like he ended up winning. And I used to think like, man, that guy, I want to like be good like that guy. Like I want to be in the roped off area where people are playing the game and everyone's looking from the sidelines. I wanted to be that. I saw that and that made me like really want to step my shit up.
First of all, once again, I'm really happy for him because I know back in the day, he won a couple YCSs. Like I remember he won with Lightsworn.
Yep, he won a YCS with Lightsworn, and then he went on the top a bunch of times. He went to Worlds.
Yeah, but I know then for a while, like I don't think he was doing too well. I don't think he was topping. Or on top of that, he stopped playing as much.
Yeah, Silverman started vending. Like Silverman,
exactly.
he's one of those people that like.
He was like, I'm gonna make more money vending.
Yeah,
like,
it's so much more money vending, and it's like at the end of the day, once you've won, it kind of like your motivation can start to get a little like, I've already won. Like, yeah, sure, it's fun to top and sure to play with friends, but like you're not as hungry once you've won. Most people, anyway.
So I'm happy to hear that he won one of the most recent YCSs. That's really cool.
He won. So technically, because the new remote dual YCS living room just happened last weekend, and so that I don't think that concluded though. I think they're going to play the finals in 2 weeks, but that just happened, and so we don't have a new YCS champion yet, but we will like soon. But the last YCS winner, Silverman is part of the winning team. Like he actually won with Dinosaurs.
That's really cool. So
which is actually hilarious.
To my point, so when I started going to AU, he's one of the guys, and I remember him being kind of a degen. He was cocky, he was shit like that because he was the best. And so he was cocky, but even though he was cocky, he would still help people out. So he's one of the guys. I remember he sat down and he looked at my deck, like he flipped through my deck real quick, and then like he took like 20 of the cards. He said, "Take all this out of your deck," and he just like take all this out.
That's
he was like,
literally Steve.
He because I had 3 blue eyes in my deck, and he was like, "These are unplayable. Like, you have to tribute 2 monsters." Except, like, you're never going to do that. Like, by the time
he was giving you the
giving
game.
up card advantage, and so like he really helped me learn, and he helped me really like put together like my first sort of real deck. He helped me, I think, build a really early Warrior toolbox deck, like 3 Miska Tomato, Marauding Captain, Exiled Force.
That used to be such a basic like thing to go to for people, especially noobs, like Marauding Captains, Reinforcement of the Armies, all that. Command Soldier, I think his name was.
Yep. So my first like real deck was a Warrior toolbox deck that Steve helped me build. So I was in 7th grade when that happened, and I used to walk every single day after school, that 1.5 hour, 2 hour walk to AU.
Just to go to that
after
local,
school,
get that
just to play.
rush.
Yeah, just to play a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, and then walk all the way fucking home.
I used to leave from school to go to the library, where all the kids went that played Yu-Gi-Oh. We would all leave and go to the library after school was over, and I didn't really have like my parents were so weird. They were so like free with me, like they weren't really afraid of where I might be. So I would come in the house like not late, but I would come in the house pretty late, and they'd be like, "Where were you?" And I'm like, "Library." And we would just library. Like we would just be playing cards in the library, and that dopamine rush. Like as soon as the last period of class was over, I was just staring at the clock. Like I cannot wait to get my deck, go up to the library, which was far. Go to the library, play cards, duel. We weren't playing for cards back then or anything like that with my friends in class, but like we would just like play, and I just loved the feeling of just playing for hours. Like in my uniform, because I went to Catholic school, so I used to have like the uniform on. We're all in our uniform in the library, and we're just like dueling. And then we started looking up stuff on the computer, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, my mom used to get super mad at me because I would always bring like friends in the house, and we would just jump around and be kids and shit. And then there was a point in time when like my mom would lock me out of the house and be like, "No, like you're not allowed in until 9 o'clock when you have to go to bed."
Right.
And so she would lock me out, and we would literally, me and my friends would be playing Yu-Gi-Oh on my front step. Like we would just be on the front step. We'd set out like one of those like paper mats from the starter decks.
Yep.
And we would just be playing Yu-Gi-Oh on the front step if we weren't at AU. And just like them front step duels, man, like they were
the shit. I used to play at nighttime where you had to squint or use a cell phone to like illuminate the field because we couldn't see it. We would play in the cold. I would have on a fucking down jacket and like boots and gloves, and we would be playing Yu-Gi-Oh in the freezing cold on somebody's steps, like shivering and everything, putting our hands in our pocket because we just wanted to play that bad.
Yes. Oh my God. I remember, so yeah, I used to go to AU a lot, right? But I had friends that lived like pretty far away that also still played Yu-Gi-Oh a lot, and I only got to see them like once a month. So we would do phone duels. We would literally call each other on the house phone.
That's a little freaky. I didn't get into that.
I would call. Listen, my friend Medina, who Frazier lived with for a little bit at one point.
Mm-hmm.
He knows him. My friend Medina, a friend of mine named TJ, and Cheyenne. We'd literally call each other and like shuffle our deck, and we would play on the phone. And he'd be like, "All right, I summon, whatever. I set 2 back row. Like, all right, what do you have on the field again? What is this?" And like we would just keep talking about each other's field, and we would literally play over the fucking phone.
Yeah, and it got to that point with Skype too. Like at some point later, like much later, but Skype duels became a thing. People used to do that, like literally have like, all right, you have to just trust me to shuffle and trust me to do everything, but like we're going to duel on Skype because we were just that much of we were fiends. Everyone,
it was dope.
If you play Yu-Gi-Oh, you probably were a fiend.
I was fiending for it, man.
You might still be a fiend, and there's nothing wrong with being a fiend.
For the most part, nobody cheated except for my one friend. I won't say his name. Every fucking time he needed 7 tools to bandit, I was like, man, you're fucking cheating. I was like, you have 7
That's
tools.
That's such a random card to cheat with, though.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the I Am Nerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.